Praise the Lord. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. So Pastor asked me to speak this Sunday, and I figured it's been a minute since I've been on stage, both literally and figuratively. I was just on stage a second ago, and it's always a privilege to be up here now. I used to be very scared and worried, but now I see like it's being up here. It's not anyone could do it, but it's a privilege to able to speak to all you guys here. And something funny is Pastor asked Lydia to speak last Sunday, and she led worship. And this Sunday, I led worship, and he asked me to speak. So whoever's leading worship next week, be ready for a phone call. So first off, I just want to start off it's basically the new year. We're about 21 days in. Anyone start any New Year's resolutions? No? Some might. Okay. Anyone already break their New Year's resolutions? Yes? Okay. And that happens. I'm sure most of us, we start something and sometimes it breaks within that time period, whether it's to read the Bible every day or sometimes to exercise every day. And I mean, the weather sometimes gets in effects, all that. So it happens that we break into that. But I'm asking you this question because last year I spoke about things that prevent you from growing spiritually. And I told you that there's a couple of things that will prevent you from growing spiritually. That's don't compare, don't just talk the talk, and don't be comfortable, push yourself. And then we went into Philippians 3:13 through 14, where it says, I do not consider what I made is my own, but one thing I do is forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead and press on forward the goal, the prize of the upward of God in Jesus Christ. So I'm asking you guys, this was our theme last year for our youth and for the church. I'm asking, are you still moving forward? Are you still pressing on? As the new year has started, how far have you gotten from what we spoke about last year? Are you still pushing yourself to the beyond that limit? Are we forgetting what lies beyond and pushing ourselves forward? Because I've seen a lot of us do this, and I'm just going to do a demonstration. You might, could you turn on the blue mic, Stanley? So a lot of us do this, like if we start here, this spot, and our destination is that door, we start walking to that destination. We push ourselves to that spot, and then what happens? We fall, we get distracted, we walk backwards, we forget, and then when that time comes, when we need to push forward, some of us even, like, we fall right here, this spot, and what do? We don't start again here. We go all the way back here, and then we start again. And then we go back into the same thing, we fall, and we mess up again. And I've seen that over and over. And I'm just curious. I'm just curious on this time, do we do that with our lives? Imagine driving. Huh? Oh, I took the wrong exit. I need to go back home and start over again. That'll take forever, won't it? Imagine a kid. Oh, he started crawling, he fell. Go back to the womb. It doesn't make any sense to start all the way from the back. We start walking, but we say things that we're not good enough. You know, I messed up here, I need to start all over. We keep reminding ourselves of our past. We keep going back to what we already forgotten. We keep going back to it. And I want to tell you that at this time, if you are at that point, last year was one of your toughest years, or maybe the best years, I don't know. But I want to tell you, don't give up. Keep pushing on. Keep pressing forward. What we learned last year, don't let it be forgotten. We're trying to move ahead. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep going towards the goal. We can't go back to the way we started. We have to keep pushing forward. And I want all of us to push that on for 2024. And the reason I say this is when I spoke last year about this message, I spoke about a mustard seed. I don't have one, but it's like this big. And it's about a seed, and you know what seeds do. They grow into a big tree, right? So right now, some of you guys might be growing in that direction. You might be growing slowly, And that's okay, and you might be growing fast into a mighty tree. And that's okay too. But there's more to a tree than just its leaves and branches. There's something that we all need to have, something that a tree produces. It's something sweet. What is that? Fruits. Exactly. And what are fruits? They're very fragile. They reproduce themselves. They're attractive. We know that from Adam and Eve. Fruits are nourishing. And fruits are not achieved by working, but birthed by abiding in Christ. These spiritual fruits. And we have to remember that these fruits I'm talking about is, of course, the fruits of the Spirit. Last year's theme was push forward, press on. This year's theme is for us to grow in our fruits of the Spirit, to make sure that we grow, continue pushing on, continue to grow. So if we can go to Galatians 5:22 through 23. And we all know this verse. If someone wants to read it, they can. Thank you, Christine. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience or long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and gentleness, self-control. We all know these. Our kids probably know these. We probably known these fruits of the Spirit all growing up and from the church. But I wanted to break it down. The first one is love. When we think about love, we sometimes think about the emotion, right? When we see our kids, what do we say? I love my kids. When we see our parents, I love my parents. But the love that it's talking about here is not the regular love. It's not based on feelings or emotions. It's based on agape love. And when I looked up the definition of that, it's love that is undeserving, gracious, and sacrificial. Undeserving love. Have we been showing undeserving love? Has that fruit grown in your life right now? To those who try to hurt you. One of the things Jesus said is love your enemies, right? There's no reward in loving those who love you, but there's a reward in loving your enemies. And I think that's one of the things that we need to do. We need to start show more love, even those that don't deserve our love. When they hurt you, when they said something bad about you, you show that love. The second one is joy. And I think the word joy has been twisted in this world. Because I feel like joy is something that people say it's when you earn something, when you get something. But the joy in the Bible is not talking about that kind of joy. It's talking about the joy that's eternal. The joy that doesn't go away during circumstances. And I was thinking what would be a good example of this. It was Acts 16, verse 22. And it says, at midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the prisoners were listening to them. Just think about that. They're in prison, but they're singing to God hymns and songs. Do we have that kind of joy? If things go awry, do you have that joy in your life? And I'm not saying it's bad to celebrate. I'm not saying that. But if things don't go your way, do you still have joy in your life? That eternal joy that no matter what, the joy that God gives us is with us. The next one is peace. The peace of God is when things look so bad and you hear bad news, but God is still with you. When things make you anxious, right? When people are pushing you and telling you, oh, are you okay? Like, the circumstances look so bad. My health condition, I felt so scared and worried. But there are people I've known that had a worse health condition, but they had that peace of mind because they knew that God is in control. And we sometimes face this with our kids when they go to school. We don't know what they're going to be learning sometimes. There's things, there are friends, there are people around there, but we believe that there's a God of peace that will protect them, that will be with them. We trust in God who gives us that peace. The next one is patient and long-suffering. This one, I think, is something we all need to work on. I've seen this a lot of times, especially me. It's just something like this generation, they just want everything now. If I want to do something, I want it now. I can't wait. I want to be the leader now. I want to sing now. I want to play now. They don't have that patience, the long suffering. And I feel like even Christy probably would agree that I need this a lot because sometimes I get impatient a lot. Like I get annoyed fast, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but it just happens. Like you just get mad more faster. I don't know why. And like especially during traffic, during work hours, I go through 80. Oh man, like when someone cuts you off, there's something like I need to pray right then because I get so angry at that time. And I'm not saying that's something that we need to work on. And I'm not saying it's just me. I'm sure a lot of you guys have other things in your kids, your spouses, and your family. Sometimes you need to have patience with them. And so we need to grow in our patience, our long suffering. The next one is kindness and goodness. They both have like similar traits. I think of the Good Samaritan. On Luke 10, verses 30 to 35, a man was robbed and beaten up. The Samaritan, not only did he bandage him up, but he took him on his donkey and took him to an inn and laid him to rest and paid for his stay. Not only did he show his kindness, he showed his goodness, his generosity by taking care of him, taking him to the inn, and making sure he's taken care of throughout that time. He said, I'll pay for his stay. And then the next one is faithfulness. We sing about this all the time, right? God, help us to be faithful like you are faithful. And I always think of someone who's faithful is someone who's dependable. If I I know certain people in my life, I can tell them a task, they'll get it done. I don't have to question them. I don't text them. I don't call them. They'll get it done. They're faithful to get that done. Like, I don't have to worry about it. And that's something like there's no questions asked. We have those people in our lives that they will get things done no matter what. The next one is gentleness. And I think this is more of an interaction with humility. It's how you treat people, how you talk to them. I think of like kids, like if kids can approach you, like if you scare kids, I don't know, it doesn't, like it shows like more of like a gentle heart, a gentle spirit, you know? Someone who's able to be approachable. I think of like when the kids went to Jesus, right? He didn't try. They just ran up to him and went up to Jesus because of his gentleness. And the last one is self-control. Self-control is something, we all face, whether it might be temptation, whether it might be self-control with our anger, with our pride, with our ego. We have to control with our eating. Sometimes we eat too much. We have to control that. Like, we have to have self-control in our lives. And these are the 9 fruits of the Spirit. And this is our theme for the year for the youth. How many would you say you guys have? How many would you say that you lack? And we have to also realize the fruit of the Spirit is not like the gifts of the Spirit. The fruits of the Spirit is individual. You have to have all 9. It's not like I have kindness, Christy has gentleness, my brother has meekness. Like, it's not one person has each one. No, each individual person has to have all these fruits. We have to work on getting these fruits. And the reason I say this is I read this on Mark 11, 13 through 14. If someone could read that for me. That's a very scary verse. Because if you think about it, Jesus saw a tree. Our metaphor is being a mustard seed, going into a tree, right? He saw a fig tree. He didn't see just a regular tree. There are regular trees all around us. There are regular trees around us right now. Like around all areas you can see, there are regular trees. If you go out there are regular trees. But he saw a fig tree, a tree that bore fruit, right? And then when he went there, when he got closer, He saw it from a distance. He saw a fig tree. But when he got closer, he saw there was no fruit. He saw there was no fruit. And then he cursed the tree. That's what we have to realize. We might be coming to church every day. We might be part of an AV team. We might be part of other teams in this church. But if you have no fruit, when Jesus comes close to you, does he see those fruits in you? You have to realize that. There's also one more verse. Sorry, I think I'll get it. Matthew. And this is Matthew 3. Matthew 3, verse 10. Even now the axe is laid at the root of trees. Every tree, therefore, that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. These fruits of the Spirit is not a choice. This is something we need to have. Every tree that does not bear good fruit will be cut down. I know we say these fruits of the Spirit to our kids, but do we demonstrate ourselves? Do we show this to our fellow church members, to our fellow co-workers, to our fellow students, to our fellow friends? Because every tree that doesn't, it will be cut down. It will be cursed. It says it right there. And those are scary things we have to remember. And we need to start pushing forward and try to grow fruit. And we could do this together as a church. Help each other out. When you see a fellow church member getting angry, help them calm down. Help them find patience. Show them goodness and kindness. So before I end, I just want to do something. If everyone can do this, if everyone could close their eyes. Just close their eyes. This is more for for focusing. That's it. If everyone could just close your eyes. Okay? I'm going to say the fruits of the Spirit. And then I want you to think of the first person. It could be a person you know, your mom, dad, friend. It could be God, like whatever it may be. I'm just going to say the fruits of the Spirit. I just want you to imagine whoever you thought of. Okay? First one, love. Okay? Now joy. Peace. Patience or long suffering. Kindness. Goodness. Faithfulness. Gentleness. Self-control. Okay, every eye open. How many of you guys thought of someone when I said those words? Or did you guys all think of Jesus only? Now, let me ask you something else. How many of you thought of yourself in the words I said? When I said love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Did you think of yourself in that area? So I just want you guys to think about these things, because this year, this is what we're going to be focusing on as a youth. And I would love if all the adults would join us with us, that we would push ourselves forward and grow some fruits to make sure that we enter the kingdom of God. So whether you're young or old, or if you come to the church every other day, every other Sunday, whatever it may be, I want you to join us. Because it's time we grow up, right? We have to grow in the fruit, grow in spiritual. Not just, I understand that we're growing in our education and everything else, but I want us to grow spiritually. Thank you, and may the Lord bless you with these words.